with reaction. We have the host of Justice, Judge Jeanine Pirro, Fox News contributor Sarah Carter, former Deputy Assistant to the President, Fox News National Security Strategist Sebastian Gorka. We got to start with you. Your breaking new news tonight about Andrew McCabe. Let's start there and work our way back.
What we know tonight is that FBI Director Christopher Wray went Sunday and reviewed the 4-page FISA memo. The very next day, Andrew McCabe was asked to resign. Remember, Sean, he was planning on resigning in March. That already came out in December. This time, they asked him to go right away. You're not coming into the office. I heard reports he didn't even come in for the morning meeting, that he didn't show up.
A source of mine told me tonight that when Wray read this, it shocked him to his core.
Shocked him to his core. And not only that, the Inspector General's report, I have been told tonight by a number of sources.
1.2 million pages already handed over to Congress.
Correct, 1.2 million pages. But there's indicators right now that McCabe may have asked FBI agents to actually change their 302s. Those are the interviews with witnesses. So basically, every time an FBI agent interviews a witness, they have to go back and file a report.
Change it, that would be what? Obstruction of justice and against the law.
Exactly. Obstruction of justice. This is something that the Inspector General is investigating. If that is the case, if this is true, and not just alleged, if this is true, McCabe will be fired. I heard they are considering firing him within the next few days if this turns out to be true.
Sebastian, as you take all of this in, as you absorb all of this, it's kind of, for some, it's hard to believe. But now the evidence has been mounting and mounting and mounting, and one smoking gun after another. It's incontrovertible at this point.
It is, but it has to be put in the context of the history of our great nation. Remember, why was America created? It was created because of the usurpation of power, the capricious usurpation by a leader thousands of miles away. That's why America was created. It was about tea tax. It was about stationing troops on private property without permission. This is 100 times bigger. This is our government spying on political adversaries. This is federal law enforcement officials obstructing justice. You listed all the things Clinton did and all the things her team did. But let's not forget, the FBI destroyed the laptops that were part of the Clinton investigation. Who gave that order?
Hey, who has an exoneration before an investigation?
Right.
The fix it because they wanted Hillary to remain. All right, Judge, let me go to you. You're great on the law. I know you've been very passionate on your own show on this. Let's break this down.
All right. You know, what we're seeing here, Sean, is what we would expect to see in a third world country, where a political party is using their justice system to not only surveil individuals, but to change the course of a presidential election. This is not just, you know, some case where people are, you know, playing around with statements, trying to get them to change statements. This is about changing the course of American history by using the most powerful weapon that we have in the justice system, the federal anyway, the FBI. I have been saying from the beginning, Sean, this guy McCabe needs to be taken out in cuffs. They should not be paid by the American people. He shouldn't be able to dictate when he's going to leave. And by the way, I have to say one thing. You know, Sean, you just said that Christopher Wray was shocked when he read that 4-page memo. You know what? How could he be shocked? He's the head of the FBI. Everything that you and I have seen that we've been talking about for the last year has been something that has been corroborated factually. And now all of a sudden he's shocked? Why are they shocked on the day before the public is going to get to see this information? Assuming the president lets it out. They knew about it, and now they're caught with their hands in the cookie jar, and now they have to say, oh, we're going to make McCabe go, and maybe more charges.
Listen, the reason that this will be coming out, and I'm glad that the White House told me tonight that they will be deliberative, that they're taking it seriously, they're not rushing out with it. Obviously, the State of the Union tomorrow, I'm hoping we'd see this by Wednesday night or Thursday. But they're doing the right thing, because this is not a game. We are talking about people's lives. We're talking about potential crimes. We're talking about people being charged, going to jail. But more importantly, and the scary part of this, and I'll throw this to Sarah for more information, is that we have now weaponize the powerful tools of intelligence. FISA is important because that means that's our government spying on citizens. And if Hillary's bought and paid for dossier was the foundation to do this, Wow.
It was a very shoddy foundation.
To influence a presidential election.
A duly elected president of the United States, voted for by the people of this country. Sean, this is bigger than anything anybody can imagine.
And when you say that, this makes Watergate like stealing a Snickers bar from a drugstore.
Absolutely. And think about this. This is why there were so many whistleblowers, Sean. Not even just the whistleblowers that were going to the Inspector General, to the House Intelligence Committee. But think about this. The Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court chided the Obama administration. We broke those stories last year. Remember that?
Of course.
We
This has
broke
been a year.
They
We've been
chided the Obama administration for violating the laws.
Yes.
And this is where it all started.
Yeah, Dr. Barker.
There's a very special reason why America doesn't have an internal security service. We don't have a KGB. We don't even have an MI5. Think about that. A lot of people after 9/11 said, we need to have an internal security service to spy on Americans. And we said, no, it's un-American. What have we just heard? That the Obama administration used the intelligence community for political purposes.
And with a bought and paid for opposition dossier of lies. All right, you get the last word tonight. Judge Janine.
You know, one of the things that we have to worry about going forward is, as the evidence is out there, and my hat is off to Sarah Carter, to the Hill, John Solomon, all those guys, but we need a prosecutor in the Justice Department. We need a prosecutor in that Justice Department, not Rod Rosenstein, who right now is in the middle of all this,
Judge,
and in the middle of
we
Uranium
need a special
One.
counsel. We need it yesterday. We need it
so what is
appointed.
everyone waiting for, Sean?
I don't know what they're waiting for. I don't know. It's a scary night, but there's going to be a lot of news all week long. We are part of a small group of people. I'll add John Solomon. I'll add Greg Jarrett. I'll add Tom Fitton. I'll add Joe DeGeneva and Victoria Tunsing. Anybody I'm missing?
Chris Farrell.
Chris Farrell.
And I will say Freedom Caucus members and some others. Not a lot of them. Ron DeSantis, Mark Meadows, Jim Jordan.
Right.
Sad. The media's been lying to you. We've caught them.
Big shakeup at the FBI. Fox News confirming top FBI official Andrew McCabe has been removed from his post as deputy director. This is coming after weeks of complaints of bias within the department. Joining me now to react, Congressman Matt Gaetz, member of the House Judiciary Committee. And first of all, Congressman, sometime around 5 o'clock, the House Intel Committee is going to vote whether or not to release this memo. Even if they vote to release it, it won't be for a couple of days till we see it. But was there anything in the memo, and you have read it, and I know you can't be specific about it, but was there anything in the memo that might have led Mr. McCabe to either resign or be dismissed?
Unfortunately, I can't answer that question because it could have potentially confirm or deny what was in the memo. I will say that based on what has been publicly available, the text messages, particularly between Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, referencing meetings in Andy's office to discuss their insurance policy to save the American people from Donald Trump, that to me was a sufficient basis for Mr. McCabe
has it been
to move
confirmed that the Andy referred to in the text is Andrew McCabe?
Well, it seems very obvious to me, based on the totality of the facts, that that is, in fact, the case. Mr. McCabe may have a different viewpoint, but I think that would be very hard to maintain in a factual inquiry.
You have friends in the House Intel Committee, and you've read the memo, et cetera. Do you think it is going to be released? Is that the decision to which they're going to come?
I do. I think that Chairman Nunes and the Republican members of the Intelligence Committee have done a fantastic job. Remember, this memo culminates a year-long investigation that they've been on to ensure that the FBI and Department of Justice would be free of the type of political bias that so many of us are so concerned about.
But,
these are their
all
findings. These are the
weekend,
facts.
Congressman, forgive me for interrupting, but we've been hearing this drumbeat from Democrats and the mainstream media, for that matter, that there really isn't a bias at the FBI and the DOJ. And you Republicans are beating up on fine institutions. We had Eric Holder chime in with his tweet or text message. He said FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe is and has been a dedicated public servant. He went on to talk about bogus attacks on the FBI and DOJ. Your response?
It was on Eric Holder's watch that politics infected the top levels of the FBI and the Department of Justice. Eric Holder did us no favors by bringing politics into these hallowed institutions that we've got to be able to rely on to be unbiased no matter who is in power. And so I think his comments are entirely misplaced. And look, it's not just Republicans who are saying that this is troubling. It's the text, it's the actual words that these people are using, talking about an insurance policy against the president. That undermines our democracy.
These
That's why we
texts
gotta
and
release the memo.
the texts were between Mr. Strzok and Lisa Page, who was a lawyer at the FBI. First of all, there's Andrew McCabe. There's Peter Strzok. But Andrew McCabe was being investigated for possible conflicts of interest over his wife's use of Democratic funds while he was leading a Clinton email investigation. Now, it's true that he wasn't doing the investigation at the time his wife was running, but do you think there was a conflict of interest there significant enough for him to step down?
I think that Andrew McCabe is stepping down likely not as a consequence of his wife's activities, but of his own. And whether or not politics influenced the decisions he made will be up for history to judge. But I think that the evidence is laid out pretty clearly that you had a group of people, McCabe, Strzok, and Page, who hated Donald Trump. And they allowed that personal belief to manifest in actual decisions, actual investigations, and things happened that should not have happened. And I think when we release this memo, we're going to have a very clear understanding of the abuses and the bias that has infected these institutions.
Okay, and there is a long list. I mean, for those in the media who say there's no evidence of bias, all you have to do is go into the Fox News website, and you'll see a complete list of some of the people. We didn't even talk about Bill Priestep from the FBI's counterintelligence, or Bruce Orr from the Justice Department, whose wife was working on that Trump memo. So there are a lot of people involved here. Matt Gaetz, great to see you, sir. Thank you very much. Please come back.
Good to see you.
Thank you. God bless you, and God bless America.